The show can't start until we crack open a bottle of Revelton. Whether it's their crisp, clean vodka, the bold spice of their rye whiskey, the rich smoothness of bourbon, or the original honey whiskey that started it all, every pour is a taste of craft and passion straight from the heart of Iowa. So pour yourself a drink, settle in, and get ready to relax, laugh, and enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Red and gold on the edge of the sky, feel the rumble, hear the battle cry. Out in Ames where the storms ignite, we don't back down, we rise and fight. Jack Tristate's name, yeah, it echoes strong. A story of honor still marches on. Through the rain, through the pain, through the fire we roar, cause we were built to thrive in the eye of the storm. Feel the ground shake, hear the crowd roar. Cyclone power, can't take no more. Legends rise, this is our norm. We stand tall in the eye of the storm. There's a cyclone blowing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Trice shakes when the team takes flight. Milton's rocking, hear the magical. We rise together, we'll never fall.
Back to In the Side of the Storm, when we talk all things Cyclones. We are live from the AKC Marketing Studio with Andrew Downs and sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company out of Osceola, Iowa, along with Iowa Beef Steakhouse, Naked Dave Spices, and Style by JJ Boutique. I'm Dave Larson here with my Storm Team partner and Cyclone great, the legend, Marcus Pfizer. Marcus, good evening.
What's going on, Dave? How are you?
I'm popping over. I'm watching this Royal Rumble that's on
Royal
TV.
Rumble?
Yeah, the Royal Rumble, the WWE wrestling. Do you watch wrestling much?
Not since I was a kid.
Oh, I don't watch it that much, but then, Netflix had that series. Oh, well, they've had a series. I think they've run 2 seasons now that I've watched, and it gives you behind the scenes of what goes on to put the show together, the personalities, how they all actually get along really well, and just telling the story that, yeah, we acknowledge it's fake. There's a lot of athleticism that goes on, but at the end of the day, it's about storylines and personalities, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, maybe I need to watch it. What I got cooking up, the behind the scenes and everything. Maybe I need to. Hey, take some notes.
There we go. Brent is on an airplane. We did try to get him on. We thought that might be kind of fun to do a live pod from the airplane. I don't know how high an airplane flies, but he was not agreeable to that. I don't know why, but he's not able to do that. So, all right, Marcus, 52 degrees in Vegas the other day. How does that happen? I thought you always have 85 and 100-degree type of weather. What's going on?
No, I never said it. I never said it's always that. I said it gets in the teens. It can get in the teens with 52 in February. Come on now. I mean, we're at February 22nd. I'll take it any day.
Yeah. Well, and Shipley's out there. I think he was expecting 80-degree weather. Now he's freezing his what's off.
I know. Talking about he didn't bring any pants. I said, hey, you're taking this naked days a little too far there, brother.
Have you had a chance to connect with him while he's there, or was that able to? I know you guys were thinking about maybe watching the BYU game together.
Yeah, we connected. That game wasn't the best of the games to be witnessing, but hey, it was a tough one. Tough one to lose.
And that's a disappointing game. I don't. It seems like there's this reoccurring theme that we have. In my perspective, I listen to a lot of podcasts and hear input, and I listen to the post game, watch some of the interviews that were after. To me, there seems to be when we lose, when we don't play well. And I would argue the second half, while we beat Houston, that was a huge win, by the way,
That was huge, man.
early in the week. But
Mhm.
it feels like when we don't move, when offensively, if we don't move, we're doomed to fail. And it either becomes a hero ball where it's more of a one-on-one, and I don't know that we've got the right matchups from a one-on-one perspective to be able to win games like that. It feels like our entire offense is predicated on movement and cutting and passing to the open cutter. Correct me if I'm wrong, but those are the things that I see as a fan, as a much lower level coach. But what are some of
Mhm.
the things that you're seeing, in particular to the Cyclones against BYU?
Well, it's kind of like I said before the game in our chat. I'm nervous about this one. It always seems to be the recurring feeling that I get in situations where it seems like we've had a tough game or a game that we've grinded it out. That I don't know, the next team, the next program seems to figure us out a little bit better than before. But I don't know. It's when things don't seem to be going right, it seems like things get a little discombobulated to the players, and it's always the uphill battle that and that uphill climb that is we can never. It doesn't matter how close we get, it's still that feeling. I had that feeling a little bit against Houston. We played well in those last couple of moments to pull that one out, and even I said we got lucky on that one because of course we know how tough Houston is, but I just felt like going up to Provo, with that star and the player with AJ being there, I just knew he was going to have a good game. One of their top players, Saunders, is out for the season, so I know they really wanted to play well for him, and it's just one of those things. It's like no matter what you do, it's just that one that you just cannot reel in. It's almost like a nightmare, but it tends to happen. We lost that one. The Big 12 is what the Big 12 is, and we just live to see another day.
Well, and you mentioned AJ DeBansa. That guy played all 40 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
29 points, 10 rebounds, an assist shy of a triple double. He dominated. Uh,
Yeah.
he came out and blocked that first shot by Momcilovic, and Momcilovic he only shot 5 times the entire game, 1 for 4 from three, and it almost felt like Debanza set the tone early
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to guard you, and you might want to think twice about shooting over me because I'm going to be in your face. I'm really going to guard you tight. And that's pretty much how the rest of the game played out. And Momcilovic really needs help, right? He's not going to find his shot outside of that little step back, but then that's where he
Mm-hmm.
got blocked. He really needs to be able to catch and shoot from a pass, from an assist. That's his game. He's not going to create his own shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's a talent. He will be the number one overall pick in the NBA draft this year.
He looked like it
Um,
too.
it's the three that they talk about the most is he, Peterson, and the Boozer twin, Cameron. I think that's his name. So it'd probably go in that order 1, 2, or 3. Cameron might go 2, but AJ definitely will be number 1. His game is just so fluent. I don't see really. You kind of wonder, is he peaking or is he still young and got room to grow? If he's still young, got room to grow, it's going to be ridiculous. He reminds me a lot of Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas was the same way, very fluent, was a big body, could shoot over the top of you, didn't handle the ball as much, but Tim was really, really skilled as a player. I remember seeing him and Kobe battle a lot when we were younger, but it was just when a guy like that gets it going offensively and defensively, and the team is playing extremely well, and you playing a high-ranked team, anything can happen, especially on your home floor, and that's what occurred.
He feels a little bit like KD in college. KD only had the 1 year at Texas, but you saw the talent still, even as a freshman, raw. But you could see the talent. Now, a little bit of a different skill set, but there's some similarities
Okay.
there, I think, between the two.
Yeah, in terms of similarities, in terms of what you said, skill set, I don't think they're close. I think KD is just, KD is just another level of a player. But I mean, AJ is definitely coming right in behind him in terms of the things that he can do. Little different of a position, possibly, but the way they interchange everyone now, he'll be able to play anywhere. But early on, I didn't think he was as good as he is, and maybe he has, you know, matured and grown throughout this year, especially being in the Big 12. That definitely will mature you extremely fast. But I wish he
Well,
didn't play
and
last
especially
night.
with Richie Saunders out too. He is
Right,
now the man,
right.
right?
And
There's
Richie
no
is tough.
question.
Richie has been tough for years, and we know how tough of a player he is. And to have a guy like him out um, may hurt them in the long run because I really seen them having a better season than what they had. They're one of those clubs that's going to be scary because they're not going to have a super high seeding. They're going to run into someone who a program that does have a high seeding and definitely shock them. So it's going to be interesting to see the way things pan out for the rest of the conference and going into the Big 12 tournament.
Well, I could see BYU coming in at maybe a 7 seed, and you as a number 1 seed. I don't think anyone would want to play BYU.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that. I think they're going to be extremely dangerous. The lights, camera, and action is going to be on that kid and that team, and they're going to go out and do some things that's really going to shock the world. But again, like I said, I didn't expect them to have. They're not having a terrible season, but
No.
at the same time, I thought they were going to be a lot better. But this is the Big 12, and we were doing extremely well before we got to this conference play, and it just is what it is. That's the thing that's always so questioning and so dangerous about how good this conference is. We seen Kansas just lose to Cincinnati at home. Did Houston just lose at home?
Houston lost to Arizona.
Oh, at home though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So it's dangerous. You never know what's going to happen one night to the next, and that's why we always get a lot of teams into the tournament.
So we came off of 2 ginormous wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beat Kansas at home on a Saturday. Came back 2
Mm-hmm.
days later, beat Houston in a game on Big Monday that I was at that Kansas game. It was pretty intense. That Houston game, I was sitting at home from my couch, and I could feel through the television that one felt like an even more intense game
Ooh,
than Kansas, which I was surprised. Maybe not surprised, but I was surprised I could feel it through the television the way that it was. That was
yeah.
that was a really good game, and so to come off of those 2 huge wins and to lose at BYU, a little frustrating to watch, but again,
Mm-hmm.
you were nervous about that, and you kind of thought
Yeah.
that might happen.
We were traveling back from Idaho, and the reception was in and out during the Houston game, and so it got to a point to where we were down big, and of course the reception wants to go out, and we drove for a little while and got to a place I guess where some towers were, and the reception came back in, and so the banner came down from the top of the phone. Like, if I go back to Hulu on my phone, it'll pick up from where it stopped at, lost reception at, but Google sent the banner down, and so I was kind of like, oh shit, like I was upset that it spoiled it, but at the same time, I was happy that we won because I was like, man, we pulled that out, and so I was like, oh, I just watch when I get home because I knew it was a good game. But at the same time, like pulling out a game like that against these last 2 programs and then having to travel to Provo to try to get that one, I told you guys I was nervous about it, and it happened.
Another slow start by the Cyclones against BYU as well. That seems to be another theme. We thought we got rid of it. They came out
Mm-hmm.
and were punching the other teams in the face, figuratively, not literally. Felt like literally at times, but here we are now. Another slow start, 39-30 at halftime, down 9 on the road. are we tired? Is fatigue starting to set in? This is something that you and your team ran across in 2000 because Coachy Stacey pushed.
Mhm.
Is maybe it's just something we can't necessarily say because we're not there, but two tough wins, and then we lay a goose egg against BYU. We just didn't look the same, right? I talked a little bit before about running and the movement,
Right.
ball movement, cutters. We're not seeing that. We didn't see that in the second half as much against Houston. While we still won, we
Mhm.
saw the output. What happened on Saturday against BYU? Are we starting to get tired?
Well, it's kind of like a football season. It's not only the stamina aspect of it all. It's just guys being banged up. So you're going to get that as a player. Any player is not going to want to come out of the game no matter what. You want to stay out there. You want to be out there with your guys and doing what you can to help the team win, even if it helps or not help the ball club. You're still going to feel like you want to be out there on the floor. So it definitely can be a bit of that to have Kansas and then have Houston so quick on what seems to be a back-to-back, and then to have to go into Provo and try to get that win. That could be a big part of it as well. But it's just the nature of the beast is what you're going to get when you be in a high level ball club and high level program, when they want to have you matched up with teams to be on big money and things like that. So you just got to put your best out there. You got to get your rest. You got to eat properly. You got to do all the things that you got to do to be successful.
The interesting thing, Saturday morning we got up, and before the games, of course, there were several outstanding games before ours, but one of the news that came through, it was that the NCAA selection committee had Iowa State on the one line for a number one seed.
Right.
And then again, earlier in that day, before our game, as you mentioned, Arizona beat Houston. And then that big shocker, Cincinnati went into Fog Allen and beat the Jayhawks by a ton. You put something out in the text chain. I didn't see that game. And I'm like, well, surely that was at Cincinnati, right? And you said, no, that was in Lawrence. I was shocked at that.
Yeah, I watched the game. I was shocked to see like how, and it seems like always whenever you play Kansas or a team like that and you have your game plan down and everything is functioning well for you. I mean, they, even the Cincinnati B, I forget his name, he was pick and popping, and I think he was like 4 for 5 from the three. I don't think they really scouted that as properly or thought he was going to shoot as many and make as many. But when the things are rolling like that and you're dialed in, that's what happens. And then, when you're trying to come from behind and, trying to get that momentum back and the team is not missing and it won't let you get it back. And, Peterson was pushing the envelope a little bit and all the things that's going on with him. Is he injured? Is he not? Is he load managing for the draft? All that stuff occurs. So you never know what's going on. Man, this conference is just such a crazy thing to deal with. And, it can happen on any given night.
What's your take on that? I saw some pictures. I think Dick Vitale had even tweeted something about that. What
about what?
About Darren Peterson and that maybe
I really don't know what's going on with
his game.
I really don't know what's going on with them. I really don't know if he's injured or if it's some kind of deal that they do have, in place. I'm sure, the legend Coach Self is, all of that was talked about before the season started. Whatever the case may be. I really don't know. The kid can play. He can really replay. And if there wasn't a 6'10" kid in the BYU, he'd probably be going number one. But the kid can play. I love the way he moves, like his passes, his shot, his mannerisms, and all of that. He's super athletic, and to be that young and to be able to move and do things like that is going to be interesting to see. But I just don't know what's really going on. With that kind of talent, I see hear the NBA and all of that, but the way guys are getting paid now, even if he was injured and came back next year, he's still going to get a nice size check to be at KU or anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't. I will really. I'm sure after the season something's going to come out exactly what was going on. But if he's hiding something that could be severe, it can't be ACL or Achilles or anything like that because he'll be out for sure. But if there's something that's going on that he's trying to hide until he gets to the draft, which that's not going to be hidden because they're going to text him like crazy because of all this that's going on with him sitting and not playing. But I really don't know what it is. You of course you said Dick Vitale, you can see people on Facebook and Instagram talking about it. And I'm like, man, if I don't know what's going on, I'm just not going to, say something about a situation that I don't know what's going on. So it'd be interesting to know like what's really going on with him. And at the same time, if he's, trying to preserve himself for the draft, that's his prerogative too. I mean, I wouldn't have done it. I didn't do it in when I was playing collegiate basketball, but things are a little bit different now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and it was disappointing because at that point, before the game, all these things were falling in line that we controlled our own destiny from number
Yeah,
one
you
seed
said it,
to
right?
Big 12 conference championship. It was starting to line up. It looked really good. And then this happened. Momchilovich, I'd made reference again, just 5
Mm-hmm.
shots. Taman Lipsey, I was impressed. Here's a guy that just continues to throw himself all over the court. Screech, we call him Screech for all I care because the guy just does it all. He's throwing his
Mm-hmm.
body out there. He's diving for loose balls. Finished with 19 points, 5 rebounds from the point guard position. And Bateman continues to impress. And you had in the text chain, you had some
Mm-hmm.
nice comments about Bateman as well.
Yeah, yeah. For that kid to be a freshman, like I said, I told you guys before, like I'd never see his first shot. He goes up. It's always the crowd going off and the commentators talking about it, and he gets it off so fast. And it's just I think he has the ability to be as a good a shooter if things continue to go the way that it's going as Monk Chiller is. His I think he will pick up the volume of the shooting that he's doing, and it's you could just tell guys who make shots, and you could tell shooters. Mike Nurse was a shooter. Once I realized, and I told Coach Station this, once I realized how good of a shooter Mike Nurse was, I used to turn that thing over all in the stands and everything. Whenever the double team was, I used to fuss at Mike because I used to tell him, man, don't move. Like I know when a double team is coming, and I'm
stay
trying
on
to
my
get it to
side.
you.
Stay where I can see you at all times.
Stay walking. Well, it was better if he was on the other side because if the double is
pivot,
coming,
yeah.
I'm coming from the top, I can throw it across the top. But having a shooter like that, man, and once Bateman gets into the game, as soon as he touches it, it seems like it's going up. Because like I said, I never see his first three that he shoots up. I see it going through the net and everybody cheering and things like that. But it's refreshing to see that we have a weapon like that. I think they need to get more shots up. Why Milano was only shot 5 shots the other day? We can't do that. I don't care. I don't care if Wembanyama is on you and he blocks 12 of them. Still get the shots up to see, where they're at least get it up on the rim and give us the opportunity to try to get it off the rim.
And
And
Torrey
what you're
only
shooting
had
and
3
beating is going
shots
to go in.
himself. Torrey just had 3. Not that
Yeah.
he needs to shoot. He's a high volume guy, but I would have expected 6 to 8 shots, not 3.
Yeah, you got to get the ball up on the rim, being tired or not. Like if the penetration isn't as far as it normally will be, and you take 1 or 2 dribbles and pull up and shoot, you got to do that. And to go back to Taman, Taman has since his freshman year has always been the same, and as he's grown and matured, and gone from being a young kid to a young man, he understands how important it is. And he's been through it. He's been through some tough teams, been through some tough seasons, and he's trying to get one. He needed really, really bad, and he has the opportunity to get it. So I'll be out there, jumping and diving and doing all that as well.
Any concern? We were out rebounded by a fairly sizable amount, 39 to 28. That I think that's where some of the speculation is, at least on my part, are retired, because I think people are calling it effort. I don't know that it's necessarily effort. Like I think the guys are out there trying hard, but you have to want that ball too, and you have to be able to box out. And BYU's coming in with some pretty big dudes down low.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's necessarily the effort piece rather than just getting in position.
It's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of fatigue. Those legs, once those legs, you as a player, you feel, and I'm sure as a runner, there's some days you go out there, it's like, man, these springs just not not
Dude,
what they were
at
a
this
couple
age,
days
it's
ago.
every time I go running.
I mean, you could just feel it. And so in the basketball game, like I've gone through games where it felt like, man, I don't know what I'm going to get. Like it's a nervous, scary feeling to where it's like, man, did I eat wrong? Did I not get enough carbs in me? Am I not hydrated enough? And then I go out there and have 8 to 10 rebounds, and it's like, damn, if I was better prepared, I probably would have had 15 to 20. But, and then it'd be some games. I remember one game against Kevin Garnett and the Timberwolves. I just didn't have any kind of legs. I shot it real well, and I remember the game because of the stat line. I had 25 points and 2 rebounds. And my teammate, AJ Guyton, man, well, he was on me like crazy. Like, man, you only had 2 rebounds. And I did not have the legs for whatever reason that game. It was a lot of screen and roll, pick and pop. I get my feet up under me and shoot the jump shot. It goes in. I'm rolling that way. But in terms of crashing the board and getting rebounds, I don't even remember getting those 2 rebounds. I just remember like my body just not being able to do it that game. We end up winning the game, however reason we end up winning the game. But when you think about things like that, and as a player and myself as a big, only having 2 rebounds, man, that's well, I see bigs now, Jaren Jackson and those guys 3 rebounds. So I'm like, man, how in the hell do y'all do that? As a big man, like that's the pride. It was always the pride of the big man to crash the board and get rebounds and things of that nature. So it could be a lot of that. I see, we see Josh is out high a lot, swinging the ball and penetrating and stuff like that. And just for as a guy our size, if that shot is going up and you in between half court and the 3-point line, you're not charging in there and not get the rebound and not be able to get back fast enough. You backpedaling and trying to get back on defense. So there's a lot of that comes into play. And you think about the things that are going on, like throughout the course of the game, you just try to find the best angles and the best opportunities to capitalize on what you capitalize on.
Well, I'm going to pivot a little bit. This is maybe a little bit of a surprise, but the We Will Pizza Performance of the Week. I'm not going to do basketball, believe it or not. Again, We Will Pizza. You can find it at Jack Trice Stadium. They're in the fall. And again, donations go to the collective that helps to fund the NIL for the athletes at Iowa State. My We Will Performance of the Week is going to be men's wrestling. So the wrestling team had their final home match of the season tonight or this afternoon and beat Missouri 20-14. Younger Bastida, who is their heavyweight, I think he's a 4-year guy, but he won by technical fall 22-6 in his final match at Hilton. If you've not seen it on Twitter or on the web, very emotional after the game. I mean, I'm watching as a Cyclone. I've got tears in my eyes just knowing that that's his last match. When you played your final game at Hilton, you didn't really know that was your final game, did you?
No. Who was that against? Was it Texas or Oklahoma State?
I'd have to go back and look at that one. Yeah, it's a conference game. Now, and we talked before about, you didn't know at that time that the house had burned down, and so had you known, maybe you would have then played it out a little bit differently that game, but you didn't really have that.
We won that
opportunity.
game, but
yeah, but you didn't have
no, I didn't.
Well, you won a lot of games that season.
Yeah, but I also I thought about it. Of course, watching the seniors and stuff that we had that year. I thought about my senior year and coming back and how emotional it would have been. To be honest, I kind of was, to be a macho man. Kind of glad I didn't have to go through that cheer knee jerking moment during the games and stuff like that. But I was hot. I was able to hide underneath that. But no, I didn't get that chance and the opportunity. And man, my focus was so much on winning the national championship that I didn't think about a lot of stuff that was going on. It just played out. But yeah, I can imagine that being very, very emotional for individuals and athletes understanding that this is my final time, being in this uniform or playing in this arena or having a match here. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go to Twitter and see if I can find it. Maybe Chris can send a link or something.
Yeah,
I know he's listening.
I'm
No
not.
ship listening.
I'm not messing around with younger Bastida. He's a heavyweight. He can cry all he wants. The wrestlers, they can cry all they want. I'm not messing with those guys. There's some bad men that wrestle for the Iowa State wrestling program. So
Yeah.
they pretty emotional though. Very cool to see. They wrestle next at the Big 12 championship in Tulsa, March 6th and 7th. So I thought about really inserting Taman in there. I have a feeling we're going to have an opportunity next week or in the coming weeks for Taman to receive that award. He's playing some really good ball. Last night it felt like he really kept us in the game with some key steals, key threes, key assists. Again, I mentioned that he's just diving all over the place. So wrestling, it's you this week. Congratulations. Cyclones now back to basketball now, 23-4 on the year, 10-4 in conference. We really do need to win out and need some help if we still want to see that Big 12 regular season championship. I apologize. I've totally misplaced the fact that your team won the Big 12 regular season and title and conference tournament.
Yes, sir.
So Arizona's sitting at 12-2, but they play KU Saturday, and then obviously we play them. So there's a chance there. Houston is 11-3, so they've got 3 losses, but they play at KU Monday, and then and that's a big Monday game. As we learned, Bill Self is like 40-0 on Big 12 Monday. So there could be a chance there for KU to knock off Houston. They get their 4th loss. We can hope that KU then beats Arizona. Here I am cheering for Kansas. This is a new experience for me, but that might actually be good for us. It would create an interesting tiebreaker scenario between all of us. But then you just don't know, right? Somebody could get knocked off along the way. On top of that, Texas Tech is also sitting at 10-4, but they don't have JT Toppin. That'll be interesting to see how their season plays out. They play Cincinnati on Tuesday, and then of course they play Saturday at Iowa State in Hilton Coliseum. So in our schedule we play Tuesday at Utah. Hopefully by that time we've adjusted to the mountain region. Saturday again, Texas Tech, and then Arizona at Arizona on March 2nd, which that's really going to be a huge game, not only in the Big 12, but if you're looking at these number 1, number 2 seeds, that game is going to go a long, long way in terms of seeding for the NCAA. How cool was it on? Yeah, go ahead.
Houston has 3 conference losses.
They do. They do.
But 3 losses overall.
I think they have 3 conference losses. I would have to go back, and I wrote all this down. I would have to go back and look. So they lost Saturday against Arizona. Of course, they lost against us. And I want to say they lost an earlier game. Someone will probably bring it up. And they're yelling at us right now. But, yeah, there was a early season loss that I don't recall. Might have been Texas Tech. that they lost to.
Might be. I don't know.
So important games for Iowa State. How cool was it Saturday? I'm sitting at home. I had some errands to run, and I thought I'd rather just sit on my couch and watch games. We had Duke against Michigan, your Wolverines, right?
They would have been my Wolverines had I transferred from Iowa State.
That's right. So number 3 Duke beat number 1 Michigan, and that's on that neutral home court. But that was a fun game to watch. I watched most of that, and then Arizona went in. We talked a little bit before about they beat Houston. So Houston now that's 2 games in a row, and then they go in to face Kansas on Big Monday. So they could be in a little bit of a world of hurt with such dynamic games back to back to back. So we've got a lot of basketball left to play. This should be a really interesting finish to the season. But Saturday, again, you had those 2 quality games, and then finish up a late night. Well, it was late for me. It was probably dinner time for you against BYU.
Yeah, those some good games. Very surprised, but not surprised. You know, my ex neighbor John Shire was able to go into Ann Arbor and get
For
that
real?
win. Yes,
That's pretty
yes.
cool.
He's my ex neighbor. Yeah, I actually offered my Bentley for him to drive to prom, and his mom said absolutely not. His mom said absolutely not. I was coming through. He's like a couple doors down, and I was coming through, leaving the neighborhood, and everyone was out, out front and stuff, and they was getting ready to go, and I hopped out. Spoke to him, was like, "Man, you can take the car." His mom said, "No, absolutely not." But to see them going to Michigan and to win that game was, I thought they were going to lose that one. It's not surprising that they've built that program back up, for him behind Coach K. I'm sure the nature of the NIL and the collectives and stuff now is easier now than it probably was early on when he was there, but now he's proven, how good of a coach he is. And even the University of Michigan have rebuilt their program, to being extremely high ranked team. So that was a good one to see. That was a good one to watch. And, we every so often, like in the NFL, we get some games where we're like, man, this was a good Sunday. And then, some games you'd be like, bro, this feel like Thursday night and the Cowboys are playing, so.
Come on.
So it was entertaining to watch.
So on my YouTube, was it YouTube? I found it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been came through Twitter, which tells you probably everything you need to know. But I found a game from 1970. The Detroit Lions against the Dallas Cowboys in a playoff game in which the Cowboys won 5-0.
Oh my God! What was it in Detroit?
I can't. There was no dome, so that could have been. Let's see, the Cowboys are wearing white. I don't know if that was in the Cotton Bowl at that time or not. I'd have to go look. I haven't watched it all yet. I just started watching a little bit of it. Of course, Tom Landry looks like Tom Landry. So, Marcus, you've seen a lot of these teams that have played. If you were to take a stab, and I know it's all about matchups, it's all about seeding and who plays who and where and when. Who do you think are the 4 best teams in college basketball right now? And let's take Iowa State out of that. Who do you think are the 4 best teams? I know you watch a lot of ball. And a lot of valuable insight there.
Going into the tournament, if we're flat out into the tournament and everyone has recovered and gotten rest and stuff like that, because the Big 12 is what the Big 12 is, I definitely think Houston. I think Coach Sampson is phenomenal, and he puts a toughness product out. I think he's what people think Mark Few teams are, but a whole lot different. But I think they're one of the top 4. I feel Duke is one of the top 4. I think Cameron Boozer just has gotten better and better over the years, over the season, and they figured some things out. They've taken their losses that they needed to take.
Did you play with Carlos? Did you play with his dad?
Yes.
Okay. So do you text back and forth and say, "Hey, did a great job"?
Well, no, I don't have. You talking about Cameron? No.
Yeah.
No,
I with his dad though.
No, I don't have. I don't know if I have. I think I do got Carlos' number, but it's been a while since we spoke. We interact on social media and stuff. I mean, also Charles. You know, Charles' brother went to Iowa State. You remember that?
I do not. I'll be honest.
Yeah, Charles Bruiser went to Iowa State. He was there with Nas now.
Really?
Yeah. Charles Bruiser, look it up. He went to Iowa State. But Marcus Jr. and we played against Cameron and the Boozer twins a couple years ago. But me and Carlos had the same agent, so I remember them when they were little bitty babies, and now shit, he's some grown men. But it's always good to see, you know, how they progress. But I think those two teams, Houston, Duke, Michigan has impressed me as of late of how they've, you know, righted the ship and slowed things down. They can be pretty vulnerable at times. And believe it or not, I still think Purdue can be that one that, you know, slide back in there. You know, they had some early troubles. I really think we gave them like a wake-up call. You know, they fell out the top 10 for a little bit, and now they're starting to slide their way back in. The Big 12 is going to beat up on each other while they sit over there. Was at the Big 10 and still gets a couple wins up. So I think those four, with Iowa State being on the outside of not being able to be in this discussion, you know, unbiasedly, and just saying those four, you know, Houston, University of Michigan, Duke, and Purdue.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
And Iowa State. So, all right, let's take a quick break. We will hear a word from our sponsors. Come back on the other side.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
In the heart of Des Moines, one name has stood above the rest: Iowa Beef Steakhouse. Step inside, and you enter a place where tradition still matters, where the atmosphere feels familiar, warm, and unmistakably Iowa. Service isn't rushed. It's personal, attentive, and rooted in genuine care. And before the main event, the freshest start in the city, our signature salad bar, crafted every single day. Then comes the reason people have returned for generations: Iowa beef, hand-seasoned with pride. Guided by flame, forged by heat. This is where flavor becomes legend. Served with the same care it was crafted with, a meal meant to be remembered. And whether the night calls for bold, smooth, or something in between, our bar offers a selection as rich as our history, including the old-fashioned we've become known for: balanced, timeless, unforgettable. And long after the fire cools, the glow of this place stays with you. Iowa Beef Steakhouse, 1201 East Euclid Avenue, Des Moines, Iowa, where Iowa comes for steak, done right. Welcome back to Cooking with Billy and Willie. We're already in progress because great cooking doesn't wait. Today, we're turning things up with Naked Dave's seasoning and sauces.
You know, this chicken and the beef here and all this stuff is fantastic. It tastes fantastic with this Naked Dave stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, this barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Yeah, that's why we're doing the commercial for Naked Days. That's why we're like pretend like we're naked. We pretend like we're naked, and then we eat. It'll be a good commercial.
It will be, for sure.
Hey, why are you really naked? You didn't have to be all the way naked. We were pretend.
It's supposed to, I wanted it to be like realistic, you know, like Daniel Day-Lewis or something.
Well, one thing you can keep the chair after this. Where's the director?
What's the problem? What is your guys' problem? It's fine.
What? Why's he naked?
I told him we were doing a naked commercial at your house.
This is like the worst porno flick ever.
Naked Dave. Look at Dave.
It really is good.
If you want bold flavor that doesn't hold back, try Naked Dave's seasoning and sauces. Find it at your local Hy-Vee grocery store. Ask your grocer to carry it or order online today at www.littlewolffoods.com. And remember, Naked Dave's, you don't have to be naked to use it.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Finding the perfect gift for your wife or girlfriend isn't always easy. You want something thoughtful, stylish, and unique. And that's exactly what you'll find at Styled by JJ Boutique. Julia Bradshaw and her team strive to be your go-to boutique for casual, boho, and chic clothing and accessories, helping women elevate their style one piece at a time. Located right here in Johnston, Iowa, Styled by JJ brings trendy, high-quality fashion that boosts confidence without breaking the bank. So, if you're looking for a gift that says, I get you, instead of I tried, head to Styled by JJ Boutique. Because nothing makes her smile like feeling beautiful. Styled by JJ Boutique, where style meets confidence. Visit our Johnston location or shop online at styledbyjjboutique.com.
All right, we are back to Inside the Storm. Marcus, women, they played tonight or today. Like the men, frustrating loss at TCU. I don't know what it is about Texas Christian University, but they seem to have the Cyclones number. Losing 80-73. And the worst thing is we are up at halftime by 6, 40-34. And Addie Brown came back, by the way, on Wednesday. She's busting out the cobwebs a little bit. She's on a minutes restriction. So I think Wednesday night she had a 20-minute restriction. Today she had a 25-minute restriction. Excuse me. I had some Revelton before during the commercial break. And so today, Addie was 4 of 16, so not the best shooting performance tonight, 11 points, 7 rebounds, though, in 25 minutes. Audie Crooks, 22 and 6, 5 fouls. She fouled out late in the game. Jada Williams with 15 and 7. Ariana Jackson, 9 points and 4 rebounds. Probably the bigger issues, TCU's Olivia Miles had a triple-double, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. The good part about the Cyclone women is the free throws were much better, and I talked about that last week. The Sunday night or Sunday afternoon game at Hilton, they shot much better. That continued Wednesday night in Hilton, and then again today they shot well from the free throw line, but a little frustrating to see the women come out and lay another goose egg. It's just a bad weekend for Cyclone basketball. Why? It seems like when the men lose, the women lose.
Well, I mean, again, it's a Big 12, playing on the road. Yeah. The TCU women have had a good season. We knew it was going to be a tough one, just like, going up there to BYU. And, unfortunately, we weren't able to play well enough to have more points than them tonight. And, we took the loss.
Yeah. So they play Wednesday night. They've got some, I kind of felt like they had an opportunity to really finish the season out strong and optimistic that they would be looking at a top 4 seed. Probably not going to happen now. Well, I can pretty much say that's not going to happen now, even if they were to win out short of maybe winning out and winning the Big 12 tournament. Which that could happen with Addie Brown back. I've said it early in the year. I'll say it now. With Addie Brown, with everyone healthy, including Evangelina Polk, if this team is healthy, they're Final Four caliber. Now, does that mean they will go? No, but the talent is there where they've got shooters, they've got inside presence, they've got a lot of, Polk will come in and be physical and get rebounds. You've got some athleticism. I like what Elisa Williams is doing. We've got dynamic freshmen in Beatty coming in and pushing tempo. There's a lot of positives with this team. And with players out, they've all had more experience than maybe what they would have had if everyone had been healthy. And they went through that streak where they lost 5 in a row. They got healthy with Ariana Jackson coming back, and then they ran off with 4 in a row. So there's a lot of talent there. I think that if they can continue to shoot well and shoot free throws well, that we're winning on the road. You've always said this. It's tough, men and women, that the women, if they can get everyone back and healthy, this is a Big 12 conference tournament championship team, and this team could go far in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think once we get out of the juggernaut, which is the Big 12, and stop beating up on each other, and you have to prepare for one team at a time, I think we're in a lot more of favor of winning those kind of matchups. But at this point right now, I mean, you can sit back and you can scout. You can go through all the things that you can go through to maybe nullify, Addy or Audie or whoever else on the floor. So if we can just, stay the course that we've been going, understand that losses are going to come. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can win the Big 12 tournament and use that momentum to go into the NCAA tournament. But I still like our chances, men and women. Again, once we get out of the Big 12, rest it up, see who we're going to be matched up with, and cause havoc on those weekends.
So I'm looking over here at my phone because I don't have it up in front of me, but the women play on Wednesday night. That is senior night against Oklahoma State. That is a 6:30 tip. So if you can't get up there, this would be an opportunity just to applaud their last home game in Hilton Coliseum. This is a really good, talented team. I'm sure that they would appreciate. And when I was up there last Wednesday, pretty much the lower bowl was full on a Wednesday night. So, I think that if you can get up there and have a chance to cheer on the Cyclones, this is the time like that they need us, right? As fans, the men need us as fans as well, but get up there, help support the program, help support this women's team, because a lot of good talent up there. And, a lot of women's programs don't have the luxury of the fan support that the Iowa State women have. So if you have the opportunity, get up there, 6:30 tip. You can have a quick dinner, get in, get out, be home by 10, 9:30 even, and get a good night's sleep and get into work the next day. Marcus, have you been following this whole situation with the women's gymnastics program?
With our women's? No.
Yeah, so I should have written this down if I'm going to bring it up to talk about it, but they've canceled the remainder of their season. And there was a lot of speculation about why. And when I say cancel the remainder of the season, it's not like they had 1 or 2 matches left. They had 5 or 6. So they had canceled a meet 2 weeks ago. And then a week later, they announced that they were canceling. And there's a lot of speculation about what was going on. You saw things on Twitter that there's maybe just some disgruntled athletes. And Jamie Pollard put out a press release this week or a statement this week that sort of alluded to some disgruntled athletes, and maybe the coaches and the athletes and parents did not see eye to eye. And it feels like there's a lot of turmoil in the program, and whether it's personalities or treatment. I found it curious that they brought up a couple of times in that statement, in Jamie Pollard's statement, about mental health services. So I don't know if that's something that being a young female athlete, that there's a lot of pressures. I know that when like my daughter, and you've got a daughter too, but
Mhm.
I think that for young ladies, there's a lot of pressure on young ladies that are growing up, that you've got to maintain a certain weight, you've got a certain physicality, you've got to have this certain appearance. And we hear about it in gymnastics, like at the Olympic level. And here today's the last day of the Olympics, and you hear things like that for
Mhm.
young athletes. Is this something that should first? One question is coming up: should we pivot? Iowa's a big wrestling state. And with Title IX, should we be looking at women's athletics a little bit differently? Should we substitute women's wrestling for gymnastics? Is there more things that maybe we should be more aware of to help support the gymnasts at Iowa State, or any school for that matter? And I think of gymnasts and cheerleading and other female athletes. I imagine it happens in all sports. Emily Ryan had talked a little bit about some of the pressures in a prior show that she had faced, that was challenging as being a female in playing basketball. Is this something that all schools, all universities should be taking a closer look at? It feels like it.
Well, I think for you should have a daughter. I have 4 daughters, so I definitely know
Yeah,
what to deal with in
I
that
didn't name
aspect.
a specific number, but
Yes, I definitely understand that what's going on in that aspect. But for women, I think especially in women athletics, a lot of times I'm not going to necessarily put it on mental, because a lot of times they just need someone to talk to, and just to it's not necessarily a mental issue or mental problem, but that's part of the mental, just being able to open up to talk to someone about what's going on. Men program, so many people in life expect men to be ABCD. Well, when it comes along, the same thing, that women can do the same thing. This is viewed at a little bit differently. So the pressures come along with that. Um, you know, it being close to equal, or being equal in terms of being in the pros or the pay and all that different stuff. So it's a lot of pressures to deal with. In gymnastics, or things like cheer or dance and all of that, that's a totally different beast within itself. I mean, your daughter does some cheering and things of that nature. One of my daughters used to do dance. Like, the money alone that's in that, it puts so much pressure on them from an early age, and all the different elements that they go through in terms of tumbling and body aches and stuff, and they still are expected to go out to perform. Men are a little bit different. Boys are a little bit different. Their bodies are a little bit more ruggeder, and they can do a little bit more. So it's the dynamic between the two is so broad, but at the same time, the women may feel like they're not getting as much support, or they don't have the ear as much as the men do. So those things are very, very important. Across the board. I feel like everything should be as close to being as even for the men and the women, that's accessible for all of the athletes, because you never know. There are some women that's a little bit more mentally stronger than other women. And there's some men that's a little bit more mentally stronger than other men. Just give them the opportunity to be able to have the options to speak to someone if needed. You never know what's going on. Just don't assume, oh, they're okay. It'll be okay. It's X, Y, and Z. One of the things that people can put it on because it's women, it could be that's going on time of the month type thing or whatever. You don't know what they're going through. Us men don't have to go through that. So if it is that case of that's what's going on, at least extend some support in that nature as well, because there's so many different things we all go through. I don't know about subbing out one program for the other. I'm all for. I don't know if the softball team or the baseball teams are back at Iowa State, or weren't they going at one time? And
we have
whatever
softball, but no
we have
baseball.
softball, but no baseball. I remember when baseball was there. So I'm for having all the teams and having all the opportunities that's able for student athletes to be able to propel themselves into a better position in life. But if they say it's mental, let's talk about what it is mental. If it's physical, let's talk about what it is physical. We have to provide some kind of way for them to feel comfortable, or you're going to get more situations like this.
Well said. And we'll just leave it at that because you hate to speculate on anything like that. And being sensitive to having daughters, I think that it would be disingenuous for us to continue on to say anything beyond that. All right. Jason Tatum, there's speculation, you're an NBA guy, that he may return to the Celtics in time for the playoffs. Would you support that? Again, he had, torn his Achilles, maybe a week, 2 weeks before Tyrese, well, it had been more than that because I think that
about 2 weeks before Tyrese did.
Yeah. Would you support Jason Tatum coming back for the playoffs? And then similarly, would you support Tyrese Halliburton coming back, former Cyclone? And incidentally enough, I don't know if you heard, but Tyrese has shingles, so he's out away from the team for 2 weeks. I saw that come across the other day, unless I've been duped on Twitter again.
That's tough for an athlete. I was playing with a guy who had shingles during the season, and it is really, really tough. And he thought he was a good looking guy. He had it all across his forehead, and man, he didn't want to come around us. Nobody see it at all. But for Tyrese, the season that they're having, absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not. For sure.
But the Celtics, they're
but
playoff
the Celtics,
bound. Yeah,
they're definitely playoff bound. They're definitely going to go to the playoffs, and it depends on how far they go into the playoffs and how everything looks. Possibly. At the end of the day, still, the guy's a $300 million man. I still will say no because, we won a championship with him. We're playing well at the moment without him. Are we going to win another championship without him? I don't think so. So, see how far we go. Tease it to see what could happen. See if it throws some fear in a couple teams or whatever. But no, I'll keep them both out all year long. Those two guys are too valuable to the ball club to be even entertaining.
But if a doctor clears him, wouldn't that be tempting to bring him back, knowing that you've just added an all NBA player to your roster for the playoff run? I mean, you've got a complete team there outside of, and we talked a little bit before about Addie Brown, right? You wanted her to come back with a couple weeks left in the season, which she has in time for the Big 12 conference tournament and then the NCAA tournament. This is similar with throwing a guy like that in the mix when you're already the caliber of talent to be able to go into the playoffs, to add him to a playoff roster. That would be tempting for me to add him and go, let's roll it out. Let's win another title.
It's very tempting, but the risk reward is what you have to really factor in it to see. Again, for Tyrese, they're nowhere close to going somewhere in the playoffs. So definitely keep him out. But for Jason, see how we're doing. From what I've understood, I think from Aaron Rodgers' Achilles tear, and so I saw the whole sports medicine thing and how now they're repairing those Achilles tears, which are different. It's kind of like the ACL. The ACL was a career injury for so many years, and now the way that they do it is definitely a change in the scientific aspect of it all. So guys are coming back. I have one, played 15 years on 3 torn ACLs, so I definitely understand how that is. So even with Jason, I'm sure he has that same procedure, and it gets you. I wonder what happened with Deshaun Watson. I think maybe that first. Oh, no. I think maybe that first one wasn't this new scientific way, and this one is better. But if Jason had that one and he's responded a whole lot better, the risk reward is just so high. Kyrie Irving tore his ACL last year, and this is February, and they've already ruled him out for the rest of the season. Yeah. And I think that's just to preserve him. I'm sure he should be able to come back within this year, but they're just going to keep him out for the rest of the year. And I wouldn't be mad at, what the Celtics have done this year. They're going to have pretty much the same team next year. Let's just start off fresh next year because I don't think they're going to win a championship this year without him.
But with him, do you think they would?
With
that's the
him,
difference
there'll
for
be.
me. If I think I'm going to win a championship, I'm bringing him back.
It's a season of having him, not Jason Tatum just jumping right in there and just trying to, because the continuity of the players, he hadn't been practicing. That all of that means a lot in the aspect of basketball. So Jaylen Brown has been the one that's doing all the scoring, handling the ball, and all that. You have to get that continuity back down together first, or it's going to, okay, we're going to stop Jaylen now. We're going to let Jason do whatever the hell he want to do because he ain't even been out here. So, he's going to go 1 for 13 or he may score 40. But his 40 is going to be without Jaylen scoring 40, and we're going to get them out of here. So I just keep them out.
All right. We don't talk much about football right now because it's basketball season, as we should be focused on basketball. But in football news, former Cyclone Nate Scheelhaase, who's on the coaching staff under Matt Campbell and has been away for a few years now, working with Los Angeles Rams, was named the offensive coordinator for the Rams. So Coach Scheelhaase had some interviews. I think I read somewhere he had 5 NFL interviews this season or this off season. Notably, I thought he would get either the Steelers or the Ravens. And Chris Shipley in our text chain had made reference about the Steelers. They tend to look at the young up-and-comer that no one really knows, which Scheelhaase absolutely fits. So I thought that was pretty cool. Former Cyclone getting his shot in the NFL as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's very exciting to see him get that opportunity and a chance. And, hopefully it'll be something that he can definitely propel into if he wants to move up, help. We've seen how important offensive coordinators are, to ball clubs. The Seattle Seahawks just won with, a guy that was an ex-head coach. So that situation worked out extremely well for them. So, congratulations to him for getting that position, and we'll see what happens from there.
It's hard to believe it's already been 2 weeks since the Super Bowl. It feels like it's been 20 weeks. It feels like forever, but it's only been 2 weeks.
Only been 2 weeks since Super Bowl, but the whole withdrawal of not having NFL games is definitely started sitting. Sunday's a little bit different.
We have the UFL coming up. I saw that. Do you follow them at all? They've been releasing a bunch of new uniforms on social media.
Nah, I hadn't seen much of them. If I see the game come on, I will watch it. But no, I hadn't seen much of them.
I would try to catch the Battle Hawks just because they had so many former Cyclones. They had Hakeem Butler on there. They had on the defensive side, I'm trying to think. Mike Rose played for them, and Seneca Wallace was an offensive coordinator for them, I think, or quarterbacks coach. So I used to follow them a little bit. Now with Coach Beck, of course, Rocco's at Penn State, but with Coach Beck, I'll probably follow him. He went to Orlando to head their new franchise. So, UFL coming up, but I know only nerds like me follow stuff like that. So, all right, Marcus, anything that I missed tonight before we close out for the night?
No, I mean, just, rest in peace to the young fella that, had the unfortunate decision to the wide receiver from the Vikings. That was a tough situation to see.
Wendell Moore, I saw that.
Yeah, that situation was, possibly a whole, just like we talked about before we got on the program, what I'm getting into is just the whole mental aspect side of an athlete going through injuries and, things may not be going right for them rehab-wise. They're concerned about their future, concerned about, making a living. And, some of these guys have never done anything but played sports. So it can get to a point where, situations are, are hard to handle, like, the kid down in Dallas. You never know what can happen. And that's 2 guys within the last, a few months that have gone through the same, untimely demise. So, definitely rest in peace to him and condolences to the family.
Yeah, that was a tough story to hear this morning. So wishing everybody that's affiliated with Rondale Moore and the Vikings and Cardinals, that's tough. Just 25 years old too.
25 years old. Right.
All right, Brent, we're sorry we missed you. Hopefully your flight is uneventful, and if you have a chance, stop in to see Brent at Coach's Kolaches there in Urbandale. Thanks everyone for joining us again. Without our sponsors, this would not be possible. And so obviously, thank a lot of Rob Taylor at Revelton Distilling Company. Got my bottle there. Haven't really dipped as much into it tonight. That's okay. And so thank you to Rob and Chrissy Taylor at Revelton. Iowa Beef Steakhouse, our studio sponsor, Andrew Downs, and AKC Marketing. Again, Julia Bradshaw with Style by JJ Boutique, and of course, Naked Dave Spices. So great to have you aboard, and of course, We Will Pizza, right? And Creasman Foods. That congratulations to the wrestling team for being named as our performance of the week. So, thanks everyone for joining us. Good night. We'll see you next time. Cheer on those Cyclones coming up this week. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.
There's a cyclone brewing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Track shakes when the team takes flight. Hilton's rocking, hear the magic call. We rise together, we'll never fall. There's a cyclone brewing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Track shakes when the team takes flight.